Good afternoon, golf fans. My name's Stuart Carter-Smith. Thanks for coming along to the channel. I'm going to do a quick tutorial, 10 minutes today, and by the end of this 10 minutes, you will know the reasons why you slice the ball or why you hook the ball. So maybe you're a beginner, maybe a more experienced player, but I'm just going to give you some tips how to stop doing one or the other, or how to do a slice and draw at will. So the first thing, we've got two things we need to look at. First one is club face. Basically where the club face aims, the ball's going to go. That makes sense, that's simple. We're not going to look at any swing dynamics, we're going to do nothing to do with D-plane. We're just going to literally look at two things, and that is square club face and a square club path. So I don't want to confuse anybody, especially if you're a beginner golfer. It's all about where our wrist position is at P5 and P6 and all this. But what I am going to do is just tell you exactly why you slice it and how you stop to slice it. So I think education is a good reason. I'm going to hit some shots here at Celtic Manor, and I'll do the shot traces so we can see me trying to slice one or fade one and me trying to hook or draw one. So the first thing, what's the difference? Well, a slice generally is a hard left to right shot, usually starting fairly straight but veering off of target. And a fade is the same thing, but it's hitting target. So it's a softer bend on the shot, which we quite like. And the hook, so the hook is a huge right to left shot with a lot of spin on it. That will miss the target left. And a draw generally would start just right of target and draw back onto the target. So, you know, if somebody hits a tee shot up the middle and it's just got a slight left to right on it, you wouldn't say, oh, that's a slice. You'd say that's a good fade because it's hitting the target and it's not got a lot of shape on it. Okay, so I'm going to exaggerate some of these shots so you get the idea of the principles of it. The first thing to mention is club face. If the club face is square, the ball is going to start straight. Whichever your swing path is, the ball will just start straight. Now, what happens to the ball is often dictated by our swing path. So there's two different things. I'm going to explain now. Let me grab a golf ball. So for a fade, this is our square line. If I had my feet square, my hips square, and my shoulders square, and I swung neutrally and kept the club face square, it's going to go straight. So if I wanted to hit a left to right one, for instance, I'm going to aim my feet just slightly left. I'll be aiming my shoulders just slightly left and my hips. And I'd aim my club face just down the left side of the fairway. Now all I've got to remember, I just need to swing the club from out to in and across the ball. Most of you guys find that an easier one to do. So we can try doing that to start off with. I'm going to come across the ball this way. I'm going to feel like I'm doing this, but making sure my club face stays square or just slightly open. Let's give this a go. And that's just fading back onto the fairway. Hopefully Tracy's going to pick that up. Most people don't have too much of a problem hitting that one because generally speaking they get to the top and they go over out this way and they cut across the ball that way. We will get rid of that in a minute. The other shot, which is a more difficult shot, is we're going to start just slightly closed with our feet, slightly closed with our hips and slightly closed with our shoulders. The important thing is our golf club face is going to be aiming down the right because that's where we want to start it, but we're going to make sure that we're going to swing from inside to outside, and as long as that path goes right of where your club face is aiming, the ball will draw. Okay, so I'll try and exaggerate this so you see it. So I've got my club face down the right, just going to keep everything nice and still. And that's a straight draw down the middle. So that started just right of the target and drew back on. So the only thing I had in my head, I appreciate I've got a fairly neutral golf swing, so I'm able to hit it both ways. But I'm just thinking where my club face is, where it's going to be delivered at the golf ball. I want to make sure that the direction it's going in, I want to swing it right of where it's aiming, if I'm aiming down the right to make the draw, and left of where it's aiming to make the fade. I'm going to give some examples how you can deliver the golf club in a better position with a few little drills in just a second. This was a simple one. It's called an avoidance drill. So we're going to have something that we need to avoid. Now generally what you guys are doing, most people slice in this game and it's something they want to get rid of because there's a lot of spin on the board, doesn't go very far. Obviously you miss the target wildly right, and generally what then you start to do, because you're missing the target way off to the right, you start aiming more left to try and hit target. And generally speaking, what that does is if you aim more left, you swing across the shot even more and you slice it even more. So it's almost the opposites. But you do need to get into a feeling of hitting that draw, and this is a good idea to try and do it, certainly with the club path. So I'll just stick a bottle down there. Loads of people have done this in the past. I've been doing this for longer than I even want to tell you. But what I'm going to try and do is just miss that bottle, just to avoid the bottle. Now you're going to hit the bottle quite a few times, but I've got the bottle on my target there. So what we're going to try and do is hit a draw here, like quite a heavy draw, because I put it in there. All I'm going to do is try and miss that bottle. So here we go. I know I can just about miss that. Let's see what we do. So I'm going to be aiming down the right. I've got my club face nearly square to this, but just down the right hand side. We've got to make sure we swing to the right of where that square club head is. Let's see how we get on with this one. Hopefully I miss that bottle first time. Okay, that's slightly overdraw. Probably see that by the tracer. So that's gone just down the left hand side of the fairway, had quite a bit of kind of draw on it, but that was because my club face ended up aiming square to the center of the fairway, and because I was swinging right of that using this club path, it's put too much spin on the ball and it went off the left hand side. But you can do exactly the same thing with a fade if you're hooking it too much. Okay, so this time if you're hooking it too much, this is a way to correct that back out again, because we already know that we can look down and see our club face, and we can see from where the ball is starting whether the club face is square or not. So this time I'm just going to put that to the right hand side of the ball, and all I'm going to do is try and avoid that. And it's amazing what your head does when you have something down there that you don't really want to hit. It almost makes you do it. And so we're going to go to the back the same as normal. We're going to have a club face pointing just left of the target, because it's going to put some spin from left to right on it. And I'm going to try and hit it across this way and then start it left and peel it back onto the fairway. So let's give that a go. Whew, that's pretty close. So I feel like I'm aiming slightly down the left. My shoulders are aiming slightly left. My hips are aiming slightly left. My club face is aiming just slightly down the left hand side. And I just got to make sure I swing to the left of that club face. Give it a go. Oh, that's nice. That was a nice one. It was a nice low peeling fade, amazingly down the middle of the fairway. So you can see that with that in your head, because what you tend to do over years of playing golf, the more you slice it, your avoidance is trying to not miss it miles to the right hand side, miss it off to the right of the fairway. And so your swing develops, your grip gets into some funky positions, and the rest of your swing starts going some crazy places as well to make up for that. Now if you use this, I would recommend it at the range so you can hit lots of shots. Make sure they're empty bottles. I don't want you damaging your golf club or anybody in front, or maybe in the range down the bottom. But just an empty bottle there. Start off with it wide, maybe not quite that as aggressive. Even that, you'll be surprised, even if you put that wide enough, that'll be enough for you to sort of change your mind and start thinking the direction you want to swing it. And same with the draw. So, easy as peas. Forget about the golf swing. Make sure your setup is good. Make sure your grip is neutral. You can look up some videos on a neutral grip. Very simple to do, because we can look at everything before we start and hit the golf ball. So I've got a square grip, square club face, and then if we swing to the left of that club face, it's going to fade. If we swing to the right of the club face, it's going to draw. It's as simple as that. You're going to have to overemphasize it. If you've got a heavy slice and you want to straighten that out or maybe get a draw going, you're going to have to feel like you're really coming from the inside. So you're almost going to try and hit it from the inside and then swing out that path, putting this spin on the golf ball to make sure we get that lovely draw. Give that a go. Let me know if it didn't work, and let me know in the comments down below. Did you change your fade into a straighter shot, less of a fade, or even did you manage to hit a few draws? That's the goal. If you hit big slices, just see if you can get on the range and hit a draw of any kind using this technique. But hopefully you understood it. If you didn't understand it, put a link down below and I'll do another follow-up video. Cheers guys, see you next week.